This is WBSM On Demand.
And it's still Tim. That's all right. Ken Pittman is stuck in some traffic, but he's on his way here. He'll be with you shortly. Until then, I've got you for a few extra bonus minutes, 508-996-0500. And let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're next on WBSM.
Tim, can you please tell Phil Devitt that the Bruins played the Vancouver Canucks last night? They're playing the Islanders tonight at 7:30.
All right. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Happy Thanksgiving. To you as well. All right. 508-996-0500. And when you're getting ready for your Thanksgiving, when you're sitting down at your table and you're thankful for things, be thankful for Phil Devitt. The man is a hard worker. Just like me, he's got many other duties that he has to do during the course of a day. And he still carves out time to be able to bring the news to you folks. Also, too, check out at WBSM.com and on the WBSM app. If you haven't had a chance to get over and see some of our stories today, we have a great story out of Fairhaven that will warm your heart. There's a mom who has a son who wants a real gas-powered military vehicle for Christmas. And obviously, that's not in Santa Claus's budget. But she posted on Facebook and said, is there anybody that can help me out and might know somebody who has one of these that maybe drives them in parades or something? And maybe, since Santa can't bring one for my son, maybe they can arrange for him to have a ride after the holidays or something. And one gentleman chimed in and said, his name's Taylor, he said, yes, I actually have two. Which one does he want to ride in? And so you can read all about that at WBSM.com and on the WBSM app. And we're going to have a follow-up on that when he actually gets to take that ride, because I can't wait to see the look on his face when he is behind the wheel. Well, I don't know if they're going to let him drive, but maybe he could sit in somebody's lap while they drive, but to actually be in one of those vehicles. When I was a kid, I didn't want to drive a lot of cars. I was never really into the idea of I need to have this car, but I always wanted to ride in the cars. I think I knew that driving was something that I was just too short for, even when I was 16. And even now. But there's two vehicles that I wanted to definitely be in. One was the General Lee, and I had the opportunity to see the General Lee at, I don't know, some mall or something. There was something when I was a kid. I got to see the General Lee in person. That was cool. But then, of course, I wanted to be able to ride in Kit. And I could have actually driven radio air quotes Kit, because Kit just drove himself. So I could have sat in the driver's seat. But never got the chance to actually see Kit in person. But had two Trans Ams myself. And there's one for sale right now on Facebook Marketplace. It's $15,000. But oh my God, I'm in love. I got to go buy a scratch ticket. And I'm just dumb enough that if I won $15,000, even though that could bail me out of a lot of messes that I'm in, or set me up for, invest that in my retirement or something. No, I'm an idiot. I'll go out there and I'll buy that Trans Am. I always say, someday I will have another one. Because I've already had two. Cracked one up. Second one I sold, and I never should have sold it. Never should have let my wife talk me into it. That's why she's my ex-wife now. No. But she made a great point. At the time, our son was 1 year old, and she said, You're not going to be able to put him in the back of that car if you needed to. And it wasn't even like it was my daily driver. I just had it sitting in front of the house. She's like, it's just taking up space. You're not going to fix it all up. It wasn't even legal. You're right. But every year I say to myself, maybe this is the year that I find one, another one I paid $350 for that one. Sold it for $385. But I was like, maybe maybe this is the year that I find one of those for $300 or $400 again, right? No, probably not going to happen. 508-996-0500. But you can read that story about the man who stepped forward to help that young boy have his Christmas wish come true. And speaking of Christmas wishes, you can also read the story about the Christmas Wishes organization in New Bedford and how they make things happen for local kids, local families, as well as an upcoming football fundraiser to help Kojo's Toy World with their toy drive, as well as a live show that they're putting on to help with their toy drive to benefit local kids as well. There's so many great, and everybody reaches out to us and says, we want you to help us push this toy drive, push this, push that. And you have to understand, we focus everything that we do for the holidays really into a few areas, and we're going to have our mini miracle family for you coming up. And it's a very touching story that I know you're going to want to help. And so we kind of put all of our efforts into that. So if you start sending us stuff about toy drives and we don't get to do anything with it or get to bring it on, just please understand. But there's certainly so many great organizations out there helping with families in need at this time of year, including, the Neediest Families Fund with the Standard Times. They've been doing that for a long, long time. And they've helped so many families over the years, including mine when I was a kid. So don't be afraid to if you have a little something to give. There's certainly plenty of places around to be able to do that. 508-996-0500. It's a different show now, Sketty, so you can call back in.
That's right. That's exactly what I was thinking. I said, oh, look, this is a good cheat, a fair cheat. So I just wanted to ask you, you're talking about the wishes and everything. When are we going to do the United Way family like we did last year, the young lady that needed those glasses?
So the Mini Miracle family we're scheduled to bring that to you next Thursday. However, I know that we're having a little bit of trouble getting things scheduled with the family. So I don't know if that's going to hold us up a little bit. I haven't heard from Casey about it because she's the person that spearheads all of that. But we do have the family in mind. We just got to set everything up with them. Oh,
that's so good because that's what I've been really waiting for.
It's definitely a good story this year.
Everybody made such a big difference for that young lady, and then for her to have her eyeglasses, and then the whole family benefited from that one thing. So yeah, I get excited about this. So, all right, well that's all. I just I don't know unless you want me to keep rambling on.
I mean, that's what they pay me for. I wouldn't want to have to make you do that for free. All right, you enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your Thanksgiving toasted from D'Angelo.
Yes.
And you know what? Splurge. Get yourself one of the brownies for dessert.
Oh, yeah. You know what? They do actually have really good brownies.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
I know. It's out of all places. And I think they used to have a really good chocolate chip cookie. Huge. And so soft that I don't think they sell that anymore.
No, I think now they do the chocolate chip cookie as like a brownie. So it's like a blondie. I think they have one of those now.
Oh, okay. Because I only go in there once a year. When Mom was alive, I'd go in a little more often than not because she could live off of that 3 times a year. She loved it. But yeah, I forgot about that. That is something I will have for dessert.
There you go.
It's doable. And I'm going to go get wine. I never heard of apple wine before.
Yeah, they have the apple pie wine over there at Stevie's.
That's what it was, you said. Apple pie wine. Never heard of that ever. So I think I'll run over there today, too. So I'm going to try that.
I'm not sure. They may even have it, that little wine tasting station that they have?
Mm-hmm.
They may have it in there so you can give it a sample before you get it. I think that might be in there.
Oh, good, yeah. Well, I know they are good about having the purple dot because I noticed that everywhere.
I'm pretty sure the apple pie wine is a purple dot item anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got to try that. I thought that's what you said, but all right. Well, I'll let you go.
All right. You have a good Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you next week.
Yes, we will. Bye-bye.
All right, 508-996-0500. Tim, just keeping the seat warm till Ken gets through the traffic issues and gets here, and he'll be covering for you with Chris. And then later on, we'll have Brian in for Barry. Then, of course, you'll have Howie Carr, Mark Levin, Charlie Kirk. And then tomorrow, syndicated programming with 3 airings of Alice's Restaurant, the Arlo Guthrie Classic, perfect for Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving radio tradition. We'll have it at 9 a.m., at noon, and at 3 p.m. So you'll be able to hear it in its entirety 3 times tomorrow. And I will send the app alerts out ahead of time so that you'll be able to, because listen, you're probably not going to have the radio on all morning, right? You're going to be doing a bunch of other things. So it'll be a reminder for you to turn the radio on and tune in if you want to hear it. Because yes, as I've been saying, you can listen to Alice's Restaurant on YouTube. It's not the same as hearing it on the radio broadcast. There's just something about it going out over the airwaves on Thanksgiving that's, to me, that's the tradition. Because I get in the car every year and I scan through the radio stations until I can find one that's playing it. And then I think to myself, well, I could have just played it I use Amazon Music as my streaming service. But it just doesn't feel the same. I can do that anytime. I can only hear it on the radio on Thanksgiving. So that's why we're starting this as our new WBSM tradition. Kind of an old tradition that's been on the radio for 50 years now, but we're doing it for the first time here on WBSM. And then, as I mentioned earlier, if you weren't listening to my show, we're going to have Christmas music on Christmas Eve and Christmas morning for you. So that's something I know that we've done in the past, but then we had the NFL football for a number of years, and that kind of, as the NFL changed their schedule and took up more and more of the holidays, now they have a Black Friday game and all that. There's so much that we wouldn't have been able to do running those games, and that's why we made the decision this year not to carry them. Because really, quite honestly, there weren't a lot of people that were clamoring to have those games on WBSM. The real football fans were watching them on television. The people who had money on them for gambling or for fantasy football purposes, they're certainly watching them on television. And there were a lot of folks who reached out and said, I want to hear the radio. I want to hear the regular radio programming. I don't want to hear the football games. So we made the decision to say, all right, let's stick with regular programming, and that opened up the possibility of being able to play Christmas music again on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So if you've got a particular song that you want to hear, you can send it to me, tim@wbsm.com, or send it via app chat on the WBSM app. As I've said, there's no guarantee I can definitely play it. I'm kind of limited to what we have available to us in the library, but I will do everything I can to find it. Now, I'm looking for, some of the older stuff, the obscure stuff. I'm certainly going to have some Christmas novelty songs in there as well. I mean, there's some great Bob Rivers stuff. There's, of course, Cheech and Chong, Santa Claus and His Old Lady. What else? Yuri Jurgensen. Yes, going nuts at Christmas. I think he also might have been the same person that did the Rusty Chevrolet. Dashing through the snow in my Rusty Chevrolet. Rust and smoke, the heaters broke. The radio, it's okay. So we'll mix a few of those in. I have a lot of those in my own personal collection. That's the only Christmas music I listen to. Are you kidding me? I don't listen to all this holly jolly holiday stuff. I listen to the funny stuff, the weird stuff, the strange stuff. There's got to be some stuff like that in our library I can pull out. And that'll be my plan for programming, but I also want to put in the things that you want to hear too. Maybe I'll save the really weird stuff for early in the morning when you're used to really weird stuff anyway, because that's when I'm on. And then we'll be off for New Year's Day as well, but we'll be with you here throughout the day on New Year's Eve too. right, Ken is on his way in. He'll be taking over right after this commercial break. You can call in and talk with him, 508-996-0500. We'll be right back with more here on WBSM.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Really crazy. I couldn't go on.
If you're caring for one of the 16 million Americans living with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, you probably have many questions. COPD makes it harder to breathe and worsens over time. As a caregiver, you may juggle many roles. Being connected to the right resources can help. That's why the Learn More, Breathe Better program and Respiratory Health Association created the COPD Caregivers Toolkit. This free toolkit will help you better understand the disease, prepare for doctor's appointments, navigate home life changes, help after a COPD flare-up, and stay mentally and physically healthy through it all. Help your loved one live better with COPD. Visit nhlbi.nih.gov/COPD-caregivers.
Well, you're definitely listening to the Chris McCarthy Show. This is Ken Pittman filling in. Pinch hitting for Christopher on Thanksgiving Eve. Welcome back to the area. Welcome home if you're just getting back into town. See your loved ones. Weather is cooperating for now. It will not be the case tomorrow. But I've already seen a few people I haven't seen in a few years. They're here for that. And I only went out and did a little shopping. I haven't been really out socializing or anything. One of the best holidays of the year, and a very fitting one. Give thanks to the blessings of this nation. And now the younger people, my kids included, are incorporating some other things called Friendsgiving, growing in popularity. As long as it doesn't take away from the family time, right? I mean, because Thanksgiving really is more than just one day. I mean, you plan 3-4 days around it. And they always talk about how bad the traffic is, air traffic, highways, when it comes to the day before Thanksgiving. Nobody ever talks about how bad it is on that Sunday. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever had to travel. I had to go just past Washington, D.C. in a vehicle on Sunday, on the Sunday of Thanksgiving weekend, and it is brutal. Thankfully, everybody wants to be up in this area this time of year. You don't have to travel. Not many of you. The day will start with, for many folks, with football games. Fairhaven will be hosting Dartmouth. Fairhaven is on their way to another Super Bowl. And the running back Marks, again, having a brilliant career year for him as a senior year. We knew he was going to be good in his junior year. I'm sure they knew before. If you were watching Fairhaven closer, you knew before then. But he's actually the title holder now of the most touchdowns scored in Mass high school history. When you think about all the stud running backs that have gone through to Division I schools, that's pretty amazing. And some will say, oh, it's a Division VI school. Well, he had a pretty good game against the second-ranked team in the state, Division I BC High. So I don't know that accounts for everything. But what do you think? I would say Fairhaven has to be favored by 4.5. And I don't think it's going to be anything but a close game because Dartmouth, they lost in the playoffs in their division, but barely lost. They had a lead at halftime and ended up losing to Mansfield, who is going to the Super Bowl. So Dartmouth belonged at near the very top of their division, and represented the area well as Fairhaven will be going to the Super Bowl, but Dartmouth also represented. Somerset had a good year. Old Rochester had a good year. Waiting for the big city to catch up. A little bit taller task, but I don't know. There's so many good athletes down here. I just wish they would do it. Put together a team. 508-996-0500. The peace deal between Israel and Hezbollah has come to an agreement. That is something I think Joe Biden would be able to be proud of, that it happened on his watch. They got it done. So there's a ceasefire for now in Lebanon. I think a lot of people are happy about that, myself included. Thank you for calling. You're on the air on the Chris McCarthy Show. This is Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Good morning.
I just wanted to get your opinion on this. It's not about sports. I've been listening to the radio on your station, the news, and it's been saying that Trump is going to put the tariffs on Mexico and China, 25% and 10% on China, and they're already getting up in arms. And I just heard that they said if they do it, Walmart's going to go up on their prices, and the news is saying that it's not really a good time to do that because the economy is just starting to get a little more stable.
Well, I think the upside down trade deal with China, that they're not allowing us to sell nearly as much as they sell here. I think that's one thing he wants to make a little bit more even. And if you look at the Mexican tariff, I think he's leveraging to make Mexico cooperate a lot more than they have been with immigration. I think that's a leverage move. I think they're two separate things. He's also going up on Canada.
Right, but they said that.
But Mexico is our biggest trading partner.
But they say we may be in a trade war.
Well, I mean, you don't have to pay more for foreign products if you're buying American. Right? If you buy the American alternative, which might be slightly more expensive, it's better for your country to do that. It's just so lopsided right now. The stuff China sells, and we all know it's mostly crap. It's stuff that breaks. You have to buy it again and again, but you can afford it at the time, so it's too tempting not to grab. And we're addicted to the cheap Chinese crap that's sold. The plastic and the just inferior designs and products. They throw it together, but it's something you need. So you trick yourself into saying, you know what, I'm going to purchase it. And there you go. And 3 months later, you're looking for it again.
Yeah, but you know what I've been noticing, too, that even at the Dollar Tree, if you read the fine print in the packages, it's saying may cause cancer.
What are you talking about? What would cause cancer?
There's a lot of items that have that on it, and it's possibly because it's made in another country. In fact, I bought a bag of Fritos that wasn't the Frito brand at the Dollar Tree, and it said on the package, I brought it back. And they didn't taste that great either, and then I read it, and it said may cause cancer.
We're a strange country. We're not completely innocent in this area either. You know, Scotch Guard, the furniture protecting spray that they put on so it makes stains harder to resonate and stay permanently on the couches, things like that. Next year, it's going to be off of the table. You can't Scotch Guard because they know it causes cancer. There's a carcinogen in the spray. Next year, they know it's cancerous now. Well, they're going to stop producing it next year.
I know, but this has been going on for too long in this country, so I don't know how they're going to turn it around. That's why there's so much cancer in this world, probably, in this country. Anyhow, another thing is there's a shampoo that my son is the one who told me about it. I didn't know I was buying it, and it says the same thing has been found to cause cancer. And it's got formaldehyde in it, and it's still on the shelves. But you could go back with it and get your money back, whatever. So I did use that. I'm not going to panic over it because I got different theories on cancer myself. I think most of it is in your genes. It's brought out by an imbalance.
I think there's a number of causes, and inflammation is related to it. Genes is you're certainly more prone to cancers if your genes are lined up. You can definitely attribute it to that. You have environment. You have people who like skin cancer. That's avoidable in many cases. You don't have to spend 30 hours a week under the sun and then learn that you've got carcinoma or melanoma or something. That's avoidable. And being around radiation that can expose you to, even if you're not predisposed to cancer, you can still get cancer. It's really indiscriminate.
Yeah, and then when you listen to the chiropractor on your station, he's all against radiation and chemo because he says it kills the good cells that you need for your immune system. Yeah. So, that's opening up a whole big topic for a whole nother day.
Well, but you can only do radiation once, too. You can only treat the cancer once in that area. You can't do it again.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Even breast cancer?
Especially breast cancer. My sister has to hold her breath so that the radiation can get to a certain area without hurting her heart.
Oh, wow.
And they can only zap that area one time.
How's she making out with that?
She's been given a good prognosis, actually. Thank you.
Yeah, my sister ended up with it in the right one. But she doesn't like talking about it much. But so far, she's in remission.
Good. Well, I'm sorry. We are going on to the next caller. I meant to put this caller on hold for a moment. I cut her off. I welcome you to call back. You're on the air. Hi.
Good morning.
Hi.
Yeah, I was just wondering, did the MIAA get Dartmouth another... when teams are eliminated from the state tournament, the football tournament, they sometimes get a fill-in game for the team that, like this past weekend, Dartmouth would have been... if they didn't play, they would have had a bye for the weekend. I don't know whether they got a game for them or not.
Tomorrow they're playing Fairhaven.
Yeah, I know that some teams, when they're eliminated from the state tournament...
There's some kind of scandal that's going around indicating a player from Dartmouth got the playbook from Fairhaven or something like that. And
really?
Yeah, I caught wind of it this morning at the breakfast. They have this traditional breakfast together, and somehow got into the wrong hands. At least according to what I read, it was reported. It seemed like it was legitimate.
Well, sometimes these high school rivalries get so intense that people do strange things,
I don't know what you do to stop that running back. I mean, everybody stacked up against him, and he's still...
He's definitely a load, that guy. I mean, I imagine he's going to be playing, I don't know, Division II or Division I college ball. I mean, with the resume he's got from high school, somebody's going to try to snap him up, I would think.
It wouldn't deter me if I'm a D1 school, if he's putting up these kinds of numbers. I send somebody out and take a good look at him, right?
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter, these. I mean, look how he played against BC High.
Right. There's a whole bunch of players in the NFL that didn't come from D1 schools.
Of course.
South Dakota State and schools like that, which are always in the D2 playoffs, they got good ball players, you know.
Yeah.
And I can remember Neil Lomax with who was a quarterback with the
Cardinals.
I think it was the St. Louis Cardinals at the time.
Yeah.
And he used to hook up with that guy Roy Green, and he got the Cardinals to the playoffs. And that guy played at Portland State,
Did he really?
which is Division III or Division II, I don't know.
That's Oregon, right?
Excuse me?
Oregon.
Yeah, it's located in Oregon, but it's a smaller school than like the University of Oregon.
Oregon State.
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed this year. Dartmouth had the team to go further. They just couldn't get past the quarterfinals with guys like Jackson Hart.
Well, Mansfield is an excellent team. I mean, very, very good defense. I mean, they're in the Super Bowl for no small reason. That's a good program.
Obviously, if Dartmouth could only get 6 points off of them, because Dartmouth, I mean, I haven't thought of too many games even this year where they didn't score at least 28 points in a game, with the guys that they had, it was disappointing to see them. I thought maybe not a Super Bowl, but at least the semifinals. I thought they'd get at least that far.
But Mansfield also, threw up some big numbers on offense most of the games, and that just speaks to how good the Dartmouth team played.
Yeah, they only got 14 points.
Yeah.
I mean,
not in the first half.
Yeah, Dartmouth let's face it, I mean, the last 3 years, Dartmouth, really, they could have played a lot of Division I. Well, they did play Division I teams in New Bedford, Durfee, and...
I mean, a lot of years they play more D1 teams than anything else.
I'm wondering if Bridgewater Raynham went to the tournament, because
they went to the tournament after losing the first three, and they eventually lost to... I can't remember who they lost to. It was a good team.
Yeah.
But maybe Zavarian? I forget.
Well, that's what's happened in recent years. The Catholic parochial schools have really dominated, especially Division I at the state tournament level with Zavarian and St. John's Prep. And, of course, Catholic Memorial usually has a good team.
I was happy to see Needham knocked off a big Catholic power. I think it was BC High?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, what does the BC stand
or St.
for
John's,
anyway?
St. John's Prep. Boston College.
Really? I wasn't sure whether it stood for some kind of Catholic school, Boston Catholic or something like that, no?
No, I actually met the priest who founded, what's the Catholic high school in Fall River? Oh,
yeah, Connolly?
Yeah, in Father... Mead, was it? He was a blind guy. He was blind by the time I met him. He's an institution, has a building named after him up in BC. Yeah. And he, Connolly, but he also was in charge of the property where BC High is, and the state told him they're taking the land behind it for UMass Boston.
Really? Yeah. Well, Bishop Connolly closed its doors 2 years ago.
Yep.
And I guess most of those students were either going to Bishop Feehan or staying because they no longer, I guess, they couldn't get the number of students that they needed to have to make it profitable. But, yeah, they closed down.
Yeah, the Catholic schools, it's a competitive thing, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, same to you and your family.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Ken. How are you today?
I'm fine. How about you?
Not bad. I just want to first wish you and your family and Tim and everybody there a happy Thanksgiving. Love this time of the year,
You too.
Yeah, I heard you speaking with Shawnee about the tariff increases, and I don't think I think this is like communication, like a shot across the bow kind of thing, more than it is. Yeah, he doesn't want to start a trade war. What he wants to do is get them to pay attention that the new sheriff's in town type thing. So I think it was within 45 minutes, Trudeau had called him, and they spoke for an hour on the phone, and then Trudeau got in front of the cameras and said, we have a good understanding and in a way forward. So, Canada, 65% of Canada's trades with the U.S., so that's a pretty big deal. And there's a new prime minister coming in within the next year. His name's Plouvert, I think his name's Pierre Plouvert.
Okay.
And he's definitely much more conservative, wants to get rid of, big thing is he wants to leverage the Canadian oil and, wants to create prosperity in Canada. And the Canadian people are all for that. So this, that really aligns with Trump pretty well. I'm sure that when the Plouvert will get on the phone with him
that's been his MO. I mean, with the NATO partnership, I mean, they correct themselves. They know he's right, even though they lash out a little bit. They know he's right, and he gets his way. Right. And Mexico is kind of the opposite. They're overreacting. They've got I think she's a communist that they elected. I can't remember. I don't remember actually, but her. She immediately was on full pushback and not really communicating. So I think that's probably going to end up being more of Trump's issue, dealing with Mexico and getting them to pay attention. She can be indignant. She's going to have to come to some kind of compromise. There's no question.
Well, all of Central America and South America is being heavily influenced by China.
Yes.
China just put in the largest container port in the world in Chile. And they built a bridge over the Darien Gap that rivals any of the bridges in the United States, except there's no roads that go to the bridge, which is kind of funny. All the roads are dirt roads, but they put this bridge in that looks like something that is like a 6-lane highway.
Some plans for mining, it looks like. And also, they control the operations, all of the locks, all of the everything along the Panama Canal.
Right. Well, they're talking about a new canal down there too.
That is a strategic problem for me, because if we ever go to war with China, they could just sabotage the whole thing and then make you go all the way around the Straits of Magellan down in South America. It's not wise to leave it in that situation.
Well, China could easily. It would be a lot harder for China to try to move military things into Mexico, but it'd be a lot easier for them to move goods and people into like Chile, and then be able to come up the highway, so to speak, if they ever needed to in the future. But I think the 10% thing with China is more dramatic. And places like Walmart, I used to sell to Walmart. I know them pretty well. Walmart is very adept at, they have like certain vendors in one country, and if those certain vendors are going to be expensive, they just tap the vendors in another country like Vietnam or Cambodia or, and a lot of Chinese manufacturers have already moved to Vietnam because they want to avoid the tariffs.
That's right.
So it all sounds worse when the news people start like winding it all up. But the reality is that the business world is a lot smarter than politics.
Yeah, the wages have improved so much in China that Vietnam's now getting the outsourced work.
Oh, huge. I mean, they've proved that they could put up a hospital during COVID in 2 weeks. So for them to put a factory up is, even if they have 6 months, it's still, they could put a full factory up, because our bike business, there's so many bike manufacturers that moved out of China and into Vietnam because Vietnam has a favored nation trading status. Yeah. So it's, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think 99% of this is, communication and setting the stage, which I think is good. So
Absolutely. Tom, anyway, Steve, you have a great Thanksgiving, you and your family. Always great to hear from you.
You and everybody else out there, too.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Whoa, chills and fever. Chills and fever. Chills and fever. Chills and fever. Is what you give to me when you hold my hand. Tell me that you're my loving man. Kiss me and squeeze me tight. Tell me, babe, you wanna love all night. I get low. Chills and fever. Chills and fever. Chills and fever. Chills and fever is what you give to me.
508-996-0500. You're listening to the Chris McCarthy Show. Ken Pittman filling in for the morning here on Thanksgiving Eve. A little bit of a race already heating up for 2026, and this is a matching, fitting for California, I think. How about this? Caitlyn Jenner against Kamala Harris for governor. I know it's already a Saturday Night Live kind of thing, but it looks like it's going to line up that way. Kamala Harris still people are upset with $1.5 billion squandered. Look, do you remember she took a day off to prepare for a softball interview with Oprah? Like 10 days out? Trump was doing, 4 or 5 events all over the country a day. And she took a day off at go time. Did you know how mad these super donors are about that? She had to pay celebrities to endorse her. Joe Biden, it seems to me, and not just me, that he was saying some things to sabotage her chances. And it'll never be lost on me when I recall the image of Jill Biden coming out of the voting booth, smiling, completely dressed in red. Red on Election Day. The Democratic First Lady dressed fully in red. If that's not code, I don't know. I think they're very careful about what they wear, these high-end politicians. And they know people are going to read into things. That was kind of a interesting choice. Let's put it that way. Trump's cabinet already is controversial, right? They've already switched up on Matt Gaetz for AG.